Hey, hey, hey. All right. Welcome to Talk Tuesday. Today's topic is going to be about savings milestones. So we're going to get into that. All right. So stay tuned. This is going to be great for you if you're someone who's like, I can't feel confident about my savings, so I have a lot in my savings. So then this was where you need to be. Hey, welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm trying to also share this on Instagram. So with this short intro that I have now, it's like, there we go. Hey, thank you for tuning in. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So this month we've been focusing on building confidence with our numbers. And that is our financial numbers that we're talking about. So, we started with how we'll have the confidence and what confidence is not. We discussed debt. We discussed today's savings. Next week we will finish with what confident I can't even get it. Confident people do with their money. Hey, thank you for tuning in. All right, so let's get into it. We won't have you long as per usual. If you are new, welcome to Talk Tuesday. It is our weekly segment where we go over tips to help you enhance your finances. I'm Coach D, your financial coach, and I want to help you to reach and exceed your financial goals while still enjoying life in the process. All right, so each week we go live. We're here on YouTube every single week. It rotates all the other weeks on other platforms that it's shared to, but every single week we're here on YouTube. So, well, thank you for tuning in. And I hope this helps you in some way. So let's get into it. Let's talk about savings. So savings, well, a lot of times we feel like if we don't have 10,000 in our savings, it doesn't matter. Or, I just said 10,000, but there's usually a larger amount that we have in our head that if we don't have that amount, then it's just not enough money. And this is not something I can be proud of, something I can be excited about, something to feel happy about. And that's what this live is about today. I want you to know, regardless of how much is in your savings, if you have something in your savings, that is a start, that is something to be proud of. Okay, so that's why we're here today. So I hope that you get that, you understand that, and you are motivated to either continue your savings if you have given up on it because you felt like it was too little, but you have to go through the smaller amounts to get to your 10,000, whatever that number is that you might have. So, the milestones, they matter. They matter. They are showing you that you're actually moving. They're showing you can't get to two without going to one. You can't get to 100 without you can't get to 500 without getting to 100. You just have to get there. And it could help you if you are setting those milestones. That's another thing that can help you out. So if you're saving and I'm just trying to get to this thousand or trying to get to this 5,000, whatever that number is you're trying to get to, maybe every time you get close to it, something happens and you have to pull from it. And that can be discouraging, but you can also use it as motivation as, you got there once. You made it there, so you can do it again. So, don't let it make you, feel discouraged like, oh man, I just got to my 1,000 and I had to pull out. Nope. The blessing is that you got to it and you had it when that emergency came about or when that event came about, whatever it might be. So, you know, allow it to be the confidence that you need. And this month is about confidence with our numbers. So that's why we're talking about this today. So, when your savings is not zero, something to be confident about. And I know somebody will be like, what if I have one penny? But so put it in there, put some in there, when you reach your first 100, when you reach your first 200, keep going, grow where you can grow with what you have. Don't try to save so much. And I've said this before and I say it again. Don't try to save so much that it's more than you can afford to save and you have to pull the money right back out. So then you're saving, I want to put, 300 aside this check and then really you can only afford to save 100. Or maybe you can only afford to save 25. You're putting the 300 in your savings and pulling out, 275. That happens. A lot of people do it. A lot of people have done it, should I say. But, so if you have done it or are doing it, make a plan to stop, set your number at what you can put in and leave in there. Set your amount to $25. So, okay, That's something I can put in there and comfortably leave there. Then you're able to do the automatic transfers. Don't get into the I'm going to save after I do this, do this, do this, do this. Let your savings, be first. Pay yourself first, as they say. Put that savings in. When you get paid, automatically go into that account, whatever that amount is. And then you can start at a certain amount and then allow it to grow, allow it to get higher. See what you can do, what you can put in and let it stay there. So you can start at 25 and it's like, oh, okay, all right, I'm not touching it. I'm not pulling that out. Let me go to 30 or let me go to 50, whatever based on monitoring your account and how things work with you, about how much you can move it up and keep moving it and keep moving it. And, as long as you can keep moving it, keep moving it. If you feel like you can't, or you get a new bill, or with the way things are rising in cost right now, something were to happen, and maybe you have to bring your number down. That's okay too, as long as you're still able to put something in there. That's another thing. We get in our own head and we'll be like, oh no, if I can't save what I used to save, I don't want to save anymore. No, saving is saving. That's a great idea to pay yourself first. I like that. Yes, we have to, because we get in the habit of I'm going to do this, do this, do this, and pay and put what I have left in my savings. No, you should put your money in your savings first, not, last, or not what's left. Because you think about it, if someone reaches out to you, a family member, a friend, and something's going on, they need something, guess what you're going to do? Give it to them in 1 second and not even think about it. But you wouldn't think to give it to your savings or put money in your savings that easily. You're more so thinking of, waiting, let me do this first. I mean, everything's more important than your savings. So definitely put some in your savings. So I have a couple things I wrote down for, ways to see that, you're not probably paying attention to your savings milestones, or you're not saving at all. And if this is you, and this isn't to like make you feel any kind of way, but just for you to see it and realize it, and encourage you to get back on that savings if you have stopped. Um, oh, what I already said, you transfer money and then you move it back. A lot of people do that. So if that's something you do, don't feel like you're alone. Don't feel like you're the only person that does that. A lot of people do that. And that is mainly because we try to save more than we can afford to save. So that's, it's part of, growing and getting used to the savings and building a habit of saving. So don't feel like that. I have on here being embarrassed about small amounts. So you might say like, I don't want to save $5. Guess what? $5 adds up. Okay. $5 20 times, that's your $100. Whatever you have to start with, start there, keep going, build that savings from whatever you can afford to save. Don't feel like any amount is too small. We'll get in our own head, oh, I can't save. That's a little bit. That's a little bit. Guess what? That little bit will add up if you leave it there. And then once you let it grow to a certain amount, then you can put it in, a different account that can build more interest. But for starters, start where you are, start with what you can, and then grow. And as you're working on other areas in your finances, more money will free up and you'll be able to put more money into that savings. And don't try to, sometimes we'll confuse ourselves and say, I want to save here, I want to have this saving here, or save here. If you're someone who's not saving on a regular, don't start off with 4 savings accounts. Start with one savings account. And once you start to see some growth, then go to a second one, because we'll usually have our different savings accounts, which are referred to as sinking funds, which could be for different things. So this one could be for your car repairs. This one could be for your vacation. This one could be for Christmas, or the holidays if you don't celebrate Christmas. But, having the multiple accounts, you could be hurting yourself trying to put $1 here, $1 here, $1 here. Work on one, build that up, you're finished. Now focus on this one. Now focus on this one. Or if more money frees up and you're having more money available, then you can put, some in each account. Every little bit helps. Yes, it does. Yes, it really does. And we get in our own way by thinking a little bit doesn't matter. And it's too little to put in there. So what do? We don't put it in our savings. And then what are we ultimately doing? Not saving, not adding to our savings. So let's see. Then after that, I also have some reasons I wrote down that, how you can see that the small milestones that I was talking about setting, setting that start at 50, or I want to get to 50, then I want to get to 100, then I want to get to 200, whatever your number might be. Sit down and write down some milestones for yourself so you can see the progress you're making and how it's going along. But I wrote down, having them and seeing yourself reach them and keep going is going to motivate you to keep going. You're seeing your progress. You're seeing, okay, I can do this. I don't think I can do this, but nope, it's staying in there and it's actually growing. That's your positive. That's your positive. So you want it to be something you can see, something you can look in your account, like, okay, all right, I got that comma. That's a lot of times that is people's first goal, to get that comma in their savings account. Okay. So maybe you can't get to it as fast as you would like, but you're on your way. So don't think about getting to that number. Say, I want to get to 100 first. Then I'm going to get to 200, or, maybe my first goal might be $75, or maybe, whatever your goal is. And everybody's different. And, once we stop worrying about what other people are doing and how fast this person is savings, you talk about things with other people and they might tell you, like, oh, my savings just got to $5,000, don't let that discourage you, because guess what? They had to work their way up to their 5,000, you know? So work your way up to your goal. They didn't start when you started. They have different amount they can set aside than you can. So definitely do what you can. Don't worry about what other people are doing, and worry about your numbers. Let's see. And that actually I talked and spoke into the next thing I had on here was, when we set those high numbers, it makes our goals so far away that it just feels like we can't reach it. So, set those numbers like I just said. And then the next thing I have on here, I already said, I already said that too. Basically, just saying, we feel like something is so small, or the amount that we're saving is so little. It's not enough that I should be saving or trying to put in my account. Any amount you're putting in there that's staying in there is growth. Allow it to go in there, and there's different things you can do. I always tell my clients, like, if you're someone who you feel like you're going to keep pulling it out, put it in an account that you don't have a card for. Or, I have an account that I have that there's no branches for it. So literally when I want it, I had to transfer from that institution to my main bank. That takes time. That takes a couple of days for me to receive it. So that's going to slow me down from just requesting it just because I want to request it. Because guess what? I'm not going to have it fast. It prevents me from impulse buys or something like, oh, you know what? I think I'm going to get that. Nope. I have to wait for it to get to my account. So that helps me. Also, if I wanted like emergency, I want it really fast, I can get it really quickly. I just will pay a fee for that, which again prevents me from acting like something is emergency when it's not emergency. So yes, yeah. So it prevents you from acting like I really need this. Nope. Nope. All right. And then I have on here, like, having that savings, building it once you get past the not doing it and actually doing it, that savings is going to, help you feel more comfortable in the sake of an emergency. Things happen. For example, this morning on my way to work, 5 something this morning, I'm driving to work and the car in front of me literally goes through the red light. So we're heading this way, of course, but there's a light this way, and I'm sure, well, I'm not sure because I don't know what they were doing in their car, but they went through the red light, so they were probably looking at this light was already turning yellow, so it was getting ready to, arrows would get ready to turn green, so they probably thought they could just, go slow and coast through it, or I don't know. Anyway, this morning their life changed. The person that they hit that was going across, who technically their light was not red, you know, having an emergency fund would greatly help both parties involved today, because nobody expects to have an accident. They didn't expect to have an accident this morning, and they did. So having that emergency fund will help you. So, start saving. That will definitely help you not have access to it right away. Yes, yes. And that's a big thing for me. It helps me not, I can't pull it fast. But yep, but definitely, a emergency fund is very important to have. Very, very important to have. So just like what I just talked about, it's a real story. Things happen, life happens, things are gonna happen. Just like us last year, our house fire. Things happen. You don't expect them to happen, but they do. So having some savings will, help you a little. Of course, I don't think you can ever be prepared for a fire. My gosh, but start your savings. All right. So I hope we're gonna get ready to get out of here. But I hope this live in some way, some fashion helps you to think about your savings. If you're not saving to get started, if you don't be waiting and I'm going to start next year, I'm going to start when I get my raise, or I'm going to start when I get my taxes. Don't be using those excuses. Start now. When you get off this live, go put something in your savings account. Go move something over to your savings account and leave it there. Let that be the start for you. Okay. And I always like to leave you with some questions to think about. So I will leave you with what is your current savings balance? Do you know how much is in your savings? Do you have anything in your savings? Think about that. What is your savings balance? Is that something you want, your balance to look like, or think about it? And then my final question will be, what is stopping you from your consistency with your savings? Why is it not important enough to keep going with it? Okay. So just think about those things. I'll see you next week. Same place, same time, right here on YouTube at 6 p.m. Eastern every week for our Talk Tuesday. Thank you for very helpful information. You're very welcome. Thank you for being here with me. I started going live every week back in I want to say 2021 or 2022, going live on Instagram. I would go live, and that's why I started incorporating them back into my lives because I started there. I was only going live on Instagram every single Tuesday at 6 p.m. And, I was loving it. Then the algorithm changed, and then I had, people weren't seeing, they weren't aware of it. And I kind of was like, well, what the heck am I doing it for? Because in the beginning it was cool, everyone, would show up and I'm talking, I'm commenting back and all the things like that. And then things changed. So I said, I'm going to go over to YouTube. And then that's where I've been. So, but now that I have like a platform that I used to go live, it allows me to share my life to different places. So I have been sharing other places, but I never incorporated Instagram. I guess I was a little mad at Instagram, but my Instagram family, forgive me. And you guys are back in the rotation. And the fourth Tuesday of every month, I'll share the live to Instagram. So if you want to see me the rest of the lives, come on YouTube. All right. You're very welcome. Thank you for being here. Love you guys. And I will see you next week.